Welcome to our biology session. Today, we'll dive into the fascinating world of eukaryotic cells. Have you heard this term before? Let's start with the basics. Eukaryotic cells are the building blocks of all complex organisms, including plants, animals, fungi, and protists. They have a well-organized structure with distinct compartments, unlike prokaryotic cells, which are simpler and lack such organization.
So eukaryotic cells are more advanced than prokaryotic ones?
Exactly. One of the defining features of eukaryotic cells is the presence of a nucleus, which stores the cell's genetic material, or DNA. Think of the nucleus as the brain of the cell. It controls all activities.
So, the nucleus is like the cell's command center?
Absolutely. Surrounding the nucleus, we have the cytoplasm, where various organelles float. These organelles are like mini factories, each performing specific tasks to keep the cell functioning smoothly. Let's go through some of them one by one.
Ma'am, what are the important organelles I should know about?
Great question. Let's start with mitochondria. These are the cell's powerhouses. They produce energy in the form of ATP, which the cell uses to perform its functions. You could say mitochondria are like the cell's generators.
So, mitochondria keep the cell energized.
Next, we have the endoplasmic reticulum, ER. It comes in two types, rough and smooth. The rough ER has ribosomes attached to it and helps in protein synthesis. The smooth ER, on the other hand, is involved in lipid synthesis and detoxification. Next, we have the endoplasmic reticulum, ER. It comes in two types, rough and smooth. The rough ER has ribosomes attached to it and helps in protein synthesis. The smooth ER, on the other hand, is involved in lipid synthesis and detoxification. Ribosomes are the sites where proteins are made. They're like tiny factories scattered around the cytoplasm or attached to the rough ER. Let's talk about the Golgi apparatus. It's like the cell's post office. It modifies, sorts, and packages proteins and lipids for transport within the cell or for secretion outside. Cells also have lysosomes, which act like garbage disposals. They contain enzymes to break down waste materials and harmful substances. Then there's the cytoskeleton, a network of protein fibers that gives the cell its shape and helps in movement.
Ma'am, what about plant cells? Do they have anything special?
Excellent observation, Shyam. Plant cells have unique structures called chloroplasts, where photosynthesis takes place. They also have a cell wall made of cellulose, which provides extra support and rigidity. And don't forget the large central vacuole, which stores water and nutrients. Eukaryotic cells are incredibly complex and efficient. Each organelle works in harmony to keep the cell alive and functioning. That's why understanding them is so crucial in biology. Let's explore one of the most fascinating organelles in plant cells, the chloroplast.
I've heard that chloroplasts are responsible for photosynthesis, but I don't know much about their structure.
That's a great starting point. Chloroplasts are like tiny energy factories inside plant cells. They capture sunlight and convert it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. Here's a labeled diagram of a chloroplast. Let's break it down part by part. Let's start with the outermost layers. The outer membrane is the protective boundary of the chloroplast. Just inside it is the inner membrane, which helps regulate the movement of materials in and out of the chloroplast. Between these two membranes, there's the intermembrane space, which plays a supportive role in maintaining the structure.
So, the membranes act like a gate and shield for the chloroplast.
Exactly. Now, moving inside, we find the stroma. It's a dense fluid that fills the chloroplast. The stroma contains enzymes, ribosomes, and even DNA that the chloroplast uses for its functions. It's like the cytoplasm of the chloroplast. Yes, particularly the Calvin cycle, which is the second stage of photosynthesis. Now, let's talk about the thylakoids, which are disc-shaped structures floating in the stroma. These are the sites of the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis. Thylakoids contain chlorophyll, the green pigment that captures sunlight. They're arranged in stacks called grana, singular, granum. These stacks increase the surface area for light absorption.
Thank you, ma'am.